At Texas A&M, talents are on display every day. But on a campus of around 90,000 students, faculty, and staff, not all of those talents are visible. These are the stories of the campus jobs you don't see and the people that do them. This is Unsung Talents on KAMU. Joseph Johnson's workday isn't different from most people's, depending on how you look at it. He responds to emails, supervises staff,
I think we do need to check the pressure regulators because I was sitting in
answers questions, and watches over his domain.
It's part of my walkthrough, in the morning.
Except his domain isn't a normal office. It's the gardens at Texas A&M University. Birds chirp, water trickles, a wind chime sings in the breeze. Gravel crunches underfoot. Here, nature soothes the soul.
I truly believe that these environments and these green spaces, they just provide tranquility. I think we're always drawn to that, and especially now as we become more urbanized.
The place is pristine, and Johnson wants to keep it that way. He's laid back and enjoys the gardens himself.
Texas mountain laurel smells like grape Kool-Aid. Kind of reminds me of childhood days,
But he's always watching, always casting a critical eye over everything.
We want to be sure that we're showing that we're maintaining their investment and the university's investment.
I visited him on a not-so-peaceful day, the first mowing of a new spring.
The gardens are really waking up, so a lot of things are a lot of things in bloom and leaping out. Our plant collection is plants that can tolerate our soils, because we use native soil from the site. Also, too, we're using domestic water, which has quite a bit of sodium in it, naturally from the aquifer. A lot of these plant material will sustain for many, many years.
I visited Johnson to learn what goes into taking care of the gardens, and I learned there's a lot. There are more than 800 species in the gardens, every one faithfully tended and lovingly cared for. A contracted SSC grounds crew performs much of the maintenance.
I really like them to be here full time, so this way they can kind of really learn and know the area, kind of see how the garden breathes and lives and the pulse of the garden, and then also too they start taking accountability.
They handle big tasks like mowing, trimming, and pruning trees. They repair irrigation and drainage systems and handle complex plants. Plus, fertilization, mulching, responsible pest control, there's plenty to do.
That's a big thing with me, is always stay on top of that stuff. If you just kind of stay on top of it and take care of it as it comes, quick as possible, that's really the best way.
Johnson also guides several horticulture student interns each semester.
Obviously we can trim back, about halfway or so.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to that.
They focus on small detail tasks. On this day, that meant cutting back grassy plants and pulling weeds out of a rock bed.
A lot of these students and interns probably never put a shovel in their hand before. Some of them never really put their hands in the soil.
It's a lot to manage, but Johnson loves coming to work every day.
I love seeing how people use the gardens, just stand back and watch. We get a lot of folks, who come here and they just didn't realize that they can have a garden like this.
As my time in the gardens ended, Johnson surveyed the 20 acres that will eventually become the second phase of the project and reflected on the work he's put in so far and what's still to come.
It's a lot of foresight on things. Even when I plant trees, I might not be here 50 years, from now, but what is that tree going to look like? What is it going to be like? And, did we plant it in the right spot? And so those are things you have to always kind of think about as a foresight, and always think about the future and how things are going to grow.
And with those 800 species to think about, he's definitely doing a lot of planning. For KAMU, I'm Christian Hamilton.